When I saw this story, it blew me away. How the hell does Maryland, such a tiny state, arrest more black males than any other state? What the con- I know Marilyn Mosby is trying very hard to correct a lot of the wrongs that have been done to people that are in prison that should not be there. But it seems like the amount of people that they are arresting is definitely disproportionate in Maryland, you know? I mean, wow. It just kind of blows me away because it's such a, like I said, it's a small state. So this came out in the Baltimore Sun Times report. Proportion of Maryland Black prison population is more than double the national average of 32%. Why? Why? Whew. Man, things must really be messed up. More of Maryland's prison population is Black than any other state in the nation, a new report found. What? Man, LVZ and Terrain, please, if you're listening to this, please chime in on this one. More than 70% of Maryland's prison population was Black in 2018 compared with 31% of the state population, according to the report. That rate far surpasses the next closest states, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Georgia, researchers found. Really? In Maryland? Damn, they must be grabbing people wholesale on the streets out there. The national average is 32% of the state's prison population is Black. The rate of incarceration for young Black males is the highest of anywhere in the country, said Mark Schindler, executive director of the Justice Policy Institute, a Washington, D.C. nonprofit that aims to reduce incarceration. That's because y'all got people in there on all kinds of petty drug crimes and some people that don't even belong in there at all. On Wednesday, the group released a report on the racial disparities in Maryland's prisons. A state that views itself as quite progressive should be quite concerned, he said. The report comes amid a growing awareness of racial disparities within the American prison system and follows sentencing reform in state and federal law. It paid particular attention to young men's sentence to long term and called for more interventions to rehabilitate them. They don't rehabilitate no prisoners in America. Maryland Public Defender Paul DeWolf called the report's findings shocking, but unfortunately not surprising. We see these racial disparities in who our clients are and how they are treated every day, DeWolf said. And we are constantly challenging exceptionally lengthy sentences that are imposed on Black and brown youth. See, we're not making this stuff up when we say you got people in there for non-violent drug offenses and they are serving astronomical sentences. We're not making this shit up. And they only feel compelled to do a lengthy sentence if the person being convicted is Black. DeWolf said the state's prison population is larger than it should be, partly because of policies that allow for racial disparities in sentencing. We know that. We know y'all have always had laws and policies and all kinds of shit in place to do us in more than anyone else. That is not shocking. Hopefully, this report will encourage meaningful reform to provide Maryland with a more just system. He said that's never going to happen. Don't hold your breath on these people doing the right thing. They're just not going to do it. Maryland's disparities continue as its overall prison population has fallen below 18,000 for the first time in nearly 3 decades. The drop was largely credited to the 2016 Justice Reinvestment Act that sought to divert Maryland's non-violent offenders from prison into drug treatment and other programs, and include changes to mandatory minimum drug penalties. See, when good old boy Jeff Sessions was in there, he wasn't going to do anything to stop all of these disparities. And now you see how bad it is. A statement from state prison spokesman Bob Venarelli pointed out that the decrease in the state prison population under Governor Larry Hogan led the nation. That is pathetic for a small state like Maryland. Damn. Every day we seek to provide all within our system, regardless of charge, race, or other factors, the best possible problematic opportunities that are driven by research, data informed, and in the best interests of our communities and public safety, he said. When Congress passed prison reform legislation last year, officials cited the racial disparities within the American prisons. The Federal First Step Act freed dozens of people in a first wave this summer who were prosecuted in federal courts in Maryland. The law aims to expand rehabilitation programs for nonviolent drug dealers and users. Wow. In Baltimore, state's attorney Marilyn Mosby has attempted to bring an end to marijuana arrests that have affected minority communities disproportionately. In January, she announced that her office would stop prosecuting people for possessing marijuana, regardless of the quantity or the person's criminal history. The Justice Policy Institute began delving into, sorry about that. Okay. Delving into Maryland's prison disparities after looking at the nearly 200 inmates released under a landmark 2012 court decision. Under the Unger ruling, Maryland's highest court found jury instructions were misleading in many trials before 1980, and as a result, prisoners across the state appealed their convictions. Prosecutors then struck deals to release the defendants on time served rather than retry their decade-old cases. Wow. Young Black men incarcerated for long prison terms from 18 to 24 years old. Usually those are the ones they like to grab to get the prison work done. And they do a lot of them like that. They'll grab them 14 to 25 and then keep them in there for years. And this is the group that they want in there to get the prison work done. Are driving current disparities. The report found that nearly 8 in 10 people who were sentenced in Maryland between those ages and have served 10 or more years in prison are Black. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. See, as long as it's us, nobody cares. Just understand that. Nobody cares as long as the face look like ours. See, and this is a big reason why they won't jail these opioid addicts out here, because they know if they arrest them and put them in jail like they are these Black men on marijuana charges, they will have to mass incarcerate their own people. That's why they came up with all this, oh, it's a public health issue. They shouldn't go to jail. Well, you sure didn't say all of that during the crack epidemic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Vermont passed a law raising the age of juvenile jurisdiction to 20 in 2022. Implementation begins in January with an 18-year-old being transferred into the juvenile justice system. Connecticut, Illinois, and Massachusetts also have considered legislation to raise the age of juvenile jurisdiction beyond the age of 18. The report said Maryland officials should consider following suit. It also suggests providing more age-appropriate programming tailored to the unique challenges of emerging adults, those ages 18 to 24. That's a damn shame. That's a shame that Maryland is really not even that big, and look at what's going on, y'all. And prison reform is never going to work as long as you got the same people in place. It's just not. In order for this whole system to change, ladies and gentlemen, you got to do a clean sweep of all the people that are in place now and get them out of the way so that all of this stuff can be corrected. As long as these people are in the way, you can best believe they're going to continue on this path of grabbing innocent people, grabbing all kinds of people on petty charges, marijuana, and all that stuff. This stuff is going to continue on. See, they can't get you in there any other way. Just understand that. You're not doing all these violent crimes out here. And if you were, it would be reflected in the prison population, and it's not. What's reflected in the prison population is a bunch of bogus-ass, nonviolent drug offenses. That's the bulk of the people in jail in America. And these people that are telling you that's not the case, I promise you, they're not going to send you any supporting document from a legitimate agency that even begins to support what they're saying. They're just going to tell you that, and that's it. And those days are done. You babbling up some fakeified shit and everybody believe it, those times are over. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.